How's it going, guys?
Great. How you doing, Yusuf?
Doing good. Good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you too, Yusuf.
All right, so we're having a special guest today, Mike, the Magic Mike. He's prepping for his first bodybuilding show. He's going through
Magic Mike.
experience. So we're gonna get through his prep, the diet, the experience, everything. You're gonna hear it from the horse mouth, from the horse mouth.
Yes. Straight from the horse's mouth. We got it.
All right,
Yeah, so I met Mike over at Snap. I just saw him one day in there working out really hard training, and then I saw him start to pose. And I was like, "Oh, this guy's a bodybuilder." I was really shocked to see that because Snap is such a, I mean, it's a small town gym, so we don't get a lot of that here. And yeah, that's kind of I kind of started talking to you a little bit after that, and then you ended up coming to me for advice, I think, pretty soon after.
Yeah, I think what happened originally, I think I talked to Mackenzie before you actually,
Yes,
because
yeah.
she came to me and was like, I think I was doing a shoulder workout, and she was like, "Have you done any bodybuilding before? You know, my boyfriend Eli over there, he's a bodybuilder and stuff." And I was like, "No, I never really thought of it before. I mean, I've always liked Arnold and all those guys, Chris Bumstead, but I never really thought of it. And then I guess I just started talking to you and kind of just went rolling. I never really thought I'd do bodybuilding, but I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And now
how
I'm
long have
really
you been,
kind of,
how long have you been following the bodybuilding sport? Let's just hear a little bit about you and like in the fitness world in general.
um, I've always been pretty, I was never always active, but I always followed it ever since I was younger. I think I was around 7 or 8 when my father showed me the documentary Pumping Iron
Oh, there you
about like,
go.
yeah,
How old
Lou
are you?
Ferrigno. Yeah, Lou Ferrigno, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dr. Columbo. And I really always, looked up to those guys. And periodically throughout my childhood, I kind of started working out. I'd work out hard for like a year, then fall off of it. Then I also did some sports throughout when I was younger, doing wrestling for a few years, and then martial arts and stuff like that. But for the past probably 2 years, 2.5 years, I've been working out very steadily, almost 6 days a week. Haven't taken any breaks besides injuries and stuff, and it's been feeling great.
For some reason, all wrestlers they have a solid foundation in their legs. Do you can you explain why?
Well, for one, you use your legs a lot in wrestling. Um, Not as much as some martial arts like jujitsu and stuff, because a lot of wrestling, even though you are grappling, a lot of it's ground game. Um, but in order to escape someone in wrestling, you have to do what's called, a lot of people arch their back and stuff, and you have to have strong enough legs to kind of push off. So wrestlers in general are kind of just strong all the way around. But yeah, wrestlers do tend to have strong legs. I never really thought about that much.
Do you do any special training for wrestling? Like any different resistance,
No,
strength training, or it's all about the techniques that they teach you?
um, when I was in high school, in middle school, we didn't really do any weightlifting and stuff like that. And then when I did it for like a year in high school, um, there was very minimal weightlifting. It was more or less just technique and wrestling, and you gain a lot of strength from just wrestling someone, especially if they're heavier than you. Uh, like I'm doing jujitsu currently, and I always like to kind of wrestle people heavier than me, 30 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than me, because while I'm getting technique down and I'm practicing, it also helps build muscle. And even if I am working with some of my own weight. Um, but in wrestling, they focused a lot more on technique and actual sparring methods than they did weightlifting. It was usually like maybe 45 minutes to an hour of weightlifting and then like 2 hours of sparring.
Hmm. How old are you, Mike?
20, I'm going to be 21 this summer.
20 years old. So, did you have any background about nutrition, bodybuilding, resistant training before meeting Eli?
Uh, no, not really, besides like the very basic stuff. The most I did for dieting was starving myself for wrestling. And that's not really much.
Is that for making weight or just getting in shape?
Yeah, that was just for making weight. Most of it was just water weight that was being lost. I had to lose 2 or 3 pounds of water weight to make a cut, and then after that, I'd gain it right back. I never really had to lose a whole lot, but when I did do it, it wasn't that fun.
That's cool. So you had a pretty good background about bodybuilding. You've been looking at it. You've been looking up to it since you were younger, like 10 plus years ago. That's really cool. I didn't end up watching Pumping Iron until like the past 5 years. Probably watched it 100 times so far, but I love
Yeah.
it. All right, do you want to go through a little, tell us a little bit about your experience when you guys started working together, the training, the diet, the plan, how many weeks out are you guys, what do you feel about your prep and all that?
Uh, is there anything you want to start off with, Eli?
Yeah, so I kind of first took on Mike as just kind of helping in general, and that's still where we're at. It's not a super close like coach client relationship. It's more like a friend helping a friend. I'm just trying to help him establish a foundation. So what I did to help him to start off is just make some general diet recommendations about kind of how I do things, what things would look like, because when you're first starting out, a lot of people, you don't have much of a clue. So I just wanted to kind of show what foods are high protein, maybe how to space your meals out a little bit so they make sense. And then I was helping out with kind of training, programming the training. He was doing. Are you still doing two a days?
No, no. I stopped those a while ago.
Yeah, when I first met him, he was already running two a days. He was doing two workouts a day. I don't do that. I feel like maybe top level people have to do that. That's like pretty extreme. So you were
Yeah.
really pushing it.
Yeah, I did 2 days my first couple months because first starting off when quarantine hit before like the whole quarantine period hit hard, I was starting to do really well. And then during the whole quarantine thing, when I wasn't allowed to go to the gyms and stuff, I lost so much muscle. It wasn't even funny. And when I went back to working out, I wanted to gain as much back as possible. So, and I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I was like, you know what? I'll hit 2 days for a little bit to kind of just build on as much as I can in a short period of time. And then I'll just kind of wean off and level out from there. At least
Right.
that was what I thought. I'm a newbie, so
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And I still think you have some newbie gains to get a hold of. Maybe not as much anymore, but how far are you into training? Did you start, was it a year ago, year and a half?
Around probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay.
Um, if I had to guess, I've really trimmed off a lot of fat. I definitely have bulked up. If I had to guess, maybe I've gained around 5 to maybe 10 pounds of lean muscle. If I had to guess, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. I can't exactly be sure. All I know is it's a big difference from because you've seen my pictures
Yeah,
from a
yeah.
year and a half ago.
Huge
I was
difference.
gonna say your photos look insane. Like still, every time you post, you look like you're changing pretty quick. Like I
Thank
don't
you.
know if it's muscle memory or whatever you're doing twice a day. So training 2 sessions a day, how do you balance that with your meals, with your sleep, with your recovery? Do you have a set plan or do you go with the flow?
When I was doing them, I had a pretty strict regimen. I took a break during the semester because of COVID and all the online schooling and stuff, and I had to do work on the farm. So I really had to be real careful with my workouts and time them right. I would wake up at 5:30 a.m., start my workout at 6 a.m. In the morning, be done by about 9 o'clock, and I like to space my workout around 8 to 10 hours apart, so that I kind of had a lot of time to just get my energy back and stuff, and not superly overwork the muscle. And then around 8 o'clock at night, once I'm done with all my chores for the day and done doing some work, I would go back to the gym, do my workout for an hour and a half or so, and call it good. Um, in terms of the type of training I did, it kind of differed from day to day. For a while, I would do like in the morning, I do chest, back, and buys, and then at night I would do say shoulders and core, and then Wednesday morning I would do legs, and then I'd start that process all over again, and then take like Saturday and Sunday as a break. Um, but then some days I just kind of kept it to where I would do my weight training in the morning, and then at night before I go to bed, I do like an hour of cardio.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot more sense because you said you train from 6 to 9. That's 3 hours, and then from 8 to 9, 9:30. That's total of at least 4 hours a day. Do you take a lot of rest in between? Do you train fasted in the morning? Because you said you wake up at 5:30. Do you just take a shake or quick breakfast?
No, usually in the morning, what I like to do, even now, I don't like to train fasted. I don't personally see the point in it because I feel like you need fuel in the tank.
Yeah,
So I never I never ate a whole lot, but usually I'd have about 3 or 4 eggs and maybe some like a package of oatmeal or something like that, or like 3 or 4 eggs and like a protein shake with my pre-workout. I never work out on an empty stomach. I just don't like to do it.
I'm pretty sure Eli switched it up when you started working together. Because the way I see it, obviously I don't know a lot of information about your body and your metabolism and your the way you grow. But the way I see it, if you're training close to bed, like a couple hours before you go to bed, and then you wake up and hit it again, and there's no much nutrients going into your body. You'll be sleeping, so you're way more exposed to this catabolic state, other than if you let's say if you train in the morning and then you train again at noon, and then from noon to the next day you keep feeding your body chocolate,
Hmm.
the glycogen stores and everything, so you'll be ready for the next day to hit it. Especially that you're doing an extreme split on your body, almost total body every day. Let's say at least 4 days a week. That's a lot
Yeah,
for recovery, but somehow it worked for you because you look like you gained a lot of muscles every time you post something. Nas was talking about you a couple weeks ago. Last time we were talking about you, and I was like, this guy is making crazy gains.
yeah. I've been meaning to get a workout in with you guys. So I hope I can get one in soon. Maybe even this weekend if you guys are doing one, because I've just been so busy, man.
Yeah, let's do it this weekend.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still learning so much. You know, you guys know so much more than me just because you guys have also worked out a lot longer and done so much more than I have. So me doing those 2 a days, I don't know if they really had any effect, but in my newbie gain mind, I was like, you know what? More workout equals more muscle. So, but
It's, it's
I've
not,
learned a lot more.
but yeah. And I wanted to say that it's not about knowing much; it's about applying. So I like what Eli said in the beginning that when he first met you, when he saw that you're interested in bodybuilding, he didn't throw all the diet measures on you. He started gradually by doing general diet recommendation to keep you in the game, and then kind of gradually advance from there. Because a lot of people can't do everything at once.
Hmm.
Gotta get there gradually. And I like the way of thinking, the way of applying, not thinking. I'm pretty sure that he knows what he's doing. So, what did you, Eli? How was? Do you want to talk a little bit about the process, like when you first started, and the recovery, the meals, leading up to today, how the training split going, how the meals going, how the plan is. He's doing the natural bodybuilding shows, right?
Yes, yes, he is. Yeah, so when I first started with him, I was like kind of closely monitoring the training program, and have since basically taken my hands off of the wheel just because he's at a point where he's a little bit better at auto regulating his training. Not all the way there. The experience obviously is still a factor, but I think I kind of pulled out, pulling out the 2 a days was the main thing. That was the first thing. I was like, no, that's way too much. And just to hear you say in my newbie mindset, more work equals more gains. To
Yeah,
hear you say that the way that you did now, that's awesome for me to hear because when I first met you, that's what it was. It was like
yeah.
you just wanted to work out, work out, work out. So I think the way that I set things up helped you a little bit in kind
I
of
think.
figuring out where your intensity should really be. So I had him doing basically a push pull split. What was it, 4 days a week to start with like
Yes.
a cardio day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I wanted him to kind of reveal the muscle that he had because I couldn't quite tell. Everybody holds fat a little bit differently, and he had been in a bulk mode for quite a long time, from what he said. So I just wanted to see, all right, what's going to happen if we take 3 4 weeks and pull a little bit of fat, pull a little bit of water off of you. I want to see where your insertions are, things like that. So we were able to do that and kind of get him off track. So that way I could just see where you're at. And then ever since then, I mean, it's just been steady gains and steady progress. So yeah,
That is, ladies and gentlemen, a really smart thing to do for the first time. Like prepping someone for the first show, you don't know how their bodies are gonna look like. So that's a really smart point from you to kind of lean down, not necessarily get him in contest shape, but at least see, as you said, where the insertions of the muscles, where the weak body parts, how he's looking right now, and then build from there.
right.
Push pull legs and a day of cardio. Um, that's pretty cool. People, do you guys do anything for posing?
He has helped me uh, about a handful of times, especially when it comes to the routine. Not routine, but just
The
yeah, just the
mandatories.
mandatories. And I'm kind of using what I've learned to help my buddy Evan, who's also going to be competing soon, and we've been kind of working together. Posing is going to be something I definitely have to work on, but I'd say that my biggest thing that I need to work on in terms of competition before I even work and really
Not,
focus on posing.
not gonna have to work on. I have to work on
Oh yeah,
today.
is nutrition. That definitely nutrition. Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
How many weeks out are you now?
What was that?
How many weeks out of your show? Like how much time left?
Oh, while the show's not till I believe July 23rd.
July 23rd. So 18 weeks or so?
Yeah.
18, 19 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, you're close to that zone where you're like 16 weeks out, 15 weeks out, 12 weeks out, 10 weeks out, and then everything just goes really quick.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that I've learned a lot from already about Eli is nutrition, because that's one thing that I've never even really focused on. When I first started working out, I was more focused on proper form for my workouts, how to do the right workouts, what rep ranges, what type of workouts work, muscle group and hit it best. What's the most, I guess, efficient way to work out a certain muscle group. I wasn't really focused on nutrition at the time. It didn't even cross my mind really. Because like I said, when I first started hitting the gym hard, bodybuilding was like in the back of my mind. It wasn't even, I just wanted to get back into shape because I was feeling terrible about my body. And then once I started to get into stuff with Eli and I was realizing how important nutrition is, it's something I still need to work on. I'm sure Eli probably gets a little annoyed sometimes when I say stuff like, I've cheated on stuff, but I can't help it because I nutrition is so new to me, and it's going to be the hardest part about it.
Yep. All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty details. How many sessions of cardio do you do a week, approximately?
How much cardio? Um,
Well, since you don't know it in the back, like of your mind, so you're not doing a lot. How is your meal plan? Do you have structured meals, or you just wanna be in the around the range of macros?
I follow my macros, and I keep them in a fairly good range. In terms of what I've eaten now to what I used to eat, I eat a lot healthier now. I eat pretty much whenever I drink stuff, I've really upped my water intake. No sugar, no sugary drinks. Everything's sugar free. Um, my father, he cooks food for the family almost every day, and my father, ever since I was younger, has always structured healthy eating. So whenever he cooks stuff, it's usually vegetable stir fries, seafood, very low fat meat. Whenever he cooks beef, he leans it out, drains all the fat, squeezes it out. A lot of stuff I eat is very low in fat, which is nice. Pretty high in protein usually. Salads, stuff like that. I've cut out almost all junk food. every now and then I'll have like some Cheez-Its and stuff like that. But I used to be like really bad with potato chips and Cheetos because those are like my favorite. But I don't eat those anymore. I rarely eat sweets anymore. Sometimes I get like, a craving, but I rarely eat sweets anymore. So it's not super, super strict, but I feel like I eat a lot healthier than most people. I've really just I've really just kind of taken out all the bad foods that I used to eat, and I feel like it's already made me feel so much better.
Man, if this is what you've been doing, and I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna go back in a couple of years and realize that this is 100% true. That you got the best genetics for bodybuilding, one of the best, I would say, bodies for bodybuilding. So if you're just being cleaning up your diet and you're leaning out this fast and you're building this amount of muscle and your body is changing as fast as I see it, then I would imagine what would happen if you really stick it out to a structured, timed meal plan. Because this is what I guessed. I thought you were gonna tell me that I eat this 100 grams of potatoes and this much of chicken, and I was expecting that you will give me a really structured, detailed meal plan. But if this is what you've been doing, just switching to healthier choices, and this is how your body reacts, it means you have a really good body for the game.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put in so much work, it would suck to, you know.
And maybe it's your training, because I see this with a lot of people. They put so much effort in meals, like in the meal plan. They're starving most of the time. They pay attention to water. They pay attention to sleep, to everything. Some people even take PEDs, but then their
Mm,
training is not on point, and it changes everything. The training changes everything.
yeah, even though I never focused on nutrition much when I was younger, my father, he's pretty overweight, and he's been like that my entire life. And so a good portion of my life, he's always taught me, he doesn't want me to be like him. He doesn't want me to miss out on things in life because I'm unhealthy, I'm overweight. And so he's always taught me that if I ever start working out hard and I start training hard, he always told me to, treat my body like, like you would a car. You don't want to put crappy oil in, you don't want to put crappy gas in it. You want to put good quality stuff in the car so that what you get out of it lasts longer and what you get out of it is much better than what you started with. You're not gonna you can work out as hard as you want in the gym, but if you eat Big Macs and Taco Bell all day long, it's not gonna matter.
It's really refreshing to look at it this way, because if you think about it this way, in the long run, when you're done competing, you don't have to kill yourself to be healthy. You know what you need. So, unlike people like me having eating disorders and issues, I have to measure everything. I have to tell myself, like consciously, this is what you have to eat. You gotta stop. And looking at someone like you just coming up, and just by nature, you feed yourself, you're satisfied, and you like the food, and your body is getting in shape. That's a good thing.
If you don't mind me asking, I never guessed someone like you, how buff and stuff you are, have like an eating disorder. Like, is that something that you've always had, or did that come with like, is that something that kind of developed as you were competing?
Oh, that's something I had since my early childhood. I was really overweight for years, and then I started doing dieting, and with no knowledge, not enough knowledge, and I ended up doing either starving myself or just going all the way out. Starving myself, going all the way out. Back in the day, there was no social media, no YouTube. That was like, I'm talking about early 2000s when I started training weightlifting. I want to say 2004, 2005. I didn't know anything about YouTube or Instagram or social media. Even that, if you guys are living in the US, you have the magazines, you have TV shows. We don't have that. We don't have that back in my country. So it's all on you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you go ask any coach, they'll tell you go run, do a lot of walking, eat boiled chicken and boiled potatoes, no salt, no spices, and that's all we know. And it doesn't work, so you have to starve yourself living on boiled eggs, and then you lose weight, you lose muscle, you lose hair, you lose everything, you lose sight of life, you lose interest, you lose your soul, and then you get it all back because you can't live this way. You can't live on boiled eggs,
Mm.
boiled potatoes, or boiled plain chicken breast. And then I started doing kind of educating myself when I was introduced to the social media. That was way before I studied human and nutrition and all that. And still, I still remember doing extreme diets like Atkins, like keto, just because I wanted things really fast. And I had stubborn body fat, and I didn't understand the process. Why is this chunk in my lower back is not going away? Why why do I kind of see my abs, but I still have that floppy thing in my lower back? And then I would go to the extreme, and then end up binging. And bodybuilding shows, it can actually get your eating disorders worse if you don't know what you're doing. And that's
Uh,
something you want to watch out for, Mike, coming up. Since now you have a kind of a balanced lifestyle where you feel good about what you eat without having to put it on a scale, without the need of being strict on certain foods, and you can still make progress. You want to keep this going. You know, like, I know that you will have to measure your food as the show approaches to control calories more, as your body gets more stubborn, and I'm sure Eli is gonna walk you through it gradually. But be careful. Don't get to the point where you lose it. And then this bodybuilding show, uh, don't let it be a bad thing on you on the long run. Because I know, especially girls, when they compete, their whole life turns over. They might get way worse than, like, in terms of body shape, they might get way worse after doing the show than they were originally were in terms of body shape or body composition, I should say. So yeah, eating disorder was from my childhood because I wasn't confident about my body. I hated my body. But now I still have it because I want to be really conscious about everything I put in my mind and in my body just to stay in shape because I don't want to get back there.
mhm.
Yep. Okay, so you guys are, like, let's say 19 weeks out. Are you gonna, Eli? Are you gonna do you have plans of adding the cardio maybe around 14, 12 weeks out? Are you gonna have him start measuring his food?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing right now is to lock in a plan for nutrition, a hard plan, and not be so loose with it. Even though that has been working up till now, as you mentioned, we will need to start tracking at some point. So I would like to start doing that as soon as possible, just to lock it in as a habit, so it doesn't become such a chore or something he's figuring out day to day. I would love to help him set a plan for meal prepping as well, because that's been the main concern right now, because he does have a very busy lifestyle outside of the gym. It's difficult for him to be able to take that time. I believe that everybody does have the time to do that. It's just about making it, and that's a process. That's figuring out time management is a skill, and it's a skill you have to develop. So we're going to work on that right now. Biggest concern. After that point, cardio is really just, to me, it's a tool to use sparingly. I think that as the least amount of cardio that we can use going into the show, the better. I think that if we need to use it a little bit closer, if that loss slows down and his calories are already to a point where His hunger is getting a little bit higher than what I'm comfortable with seeing, especially after going through what I went through. That's the point where maybe we'll add in some lists, some low intensity steady state cardio, and start there and just get his daily activity levels up a little bit. So yeah, that's about it for cardio, and yeah, nutrition is the biggest part. Yep.
So you say the least amount of cardio going into the show. Can you explain that? Can you tell? Can you say why? Can you explain why the least amount of cardio going into the show?
Right. So I think having a baseline level of cardio is good, from my research, for allowing extra recovery, especially in muscle groups that are getting quite sore and struggling session to session, just to get that blood flowing and help pump nutrients into the muscle. So I think that there is a base level that we should be at regardless of anything. But I think anything above that level is just going to be applying more total systemic energy to something that doesn't directly conserve muscle mass, because of course right now he's able to kind of lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. Like, he's still lucky enough to be in that state, but eventually that's not going to be the case, especially as calories get lower and lower. So I need to make sure that all of those calories are being used towards conservation, and every training session is going to be designed around just ensuring he doesn't lose muscle, not necessarily to build it. And as energy levels decline and all of those things become a factor, the mental game is going to be important as well. So I don't want to be burning him out with an hour of cardio every day, 4 months out from the show. That might end up being where he's at. I don't know. If he's 2 weeks out and we're struggling here, it might be an hour, 5 days a week to get him there. But I'm gonna save that for as long as possible. And then finally, just a last note is that the body will adapt. His body will adapt to a certain level of cardio each day and become more and more efficient during that time, during the time of whether he's walking, or using the elliptical or even the stair climber. He's going to be burning fewer and fewer calories doing that, just as his muscles are able to recruit fibers more efficiently. So if we can hold off on those adaptations kicking in, and the time that we spend doing cardio later on is more effective and efficient, that's obviously the best case scenario.
I love that. I love that individualization. It's like taking what you have in hand and working with it, and rather than having a previous plan set that you want to apply to everybody. I like that. I like that you want to really conserve every gram of muscle that he has without the need of wasting it as you guys lean down for the show. All right, back to you, Mike. Let's talk about, do you feel like fitness has helped you in structuring your life, making better decisions, being a better person, thinking about like things beyond the dumbbell and the barbell, like in terms of a lifestyle? Let's hear uh, let's hear about this.
Very much so. For a while there, when I was younger, about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was going through kind of a really rough spot because I've throughout my entire life so far, I've never really had much of like a dating life. I've never really had a lot of girlfriends, and I still don't have a girlfriend right now. And for a while, I'd wake up every morning, I look in the mirror, and a lot of times I'm like, look at my body, and I used to hate my body, and I used to look at a lot of these other guys, and I used to think, what do I don't have that makes me, seem unattractive or unappealing to most other people? And after I stopped, doing martial arts and doing sports in general, I got real lazy. All I did was play video games and eat junk food and just hang out at my house. And then I'd go to school, come back and do that, then go to bed. I was feeling really unhealthy and unsatisfied with myself, and I was kind of just in a rut. And I guess you could say I was depressed. I don't know. I don't like to throw around that word too much, but it was rough. And I can't exactly remember why, but I was like, I just need to make a difference. So I took a lot of the stuff I was kind of addicted to, like my PlayStation, and I threw that in my closet. And I was like, I'm not going to touch you. I need to focus on myself. So I cut out a lot of junk food, started going to the gym every day. And as I started to go and I started to burn a lot of fat and I started to I just started to feel much healthier in general, and my spirits were lifted, and I felt like a much better person. I felt like I was much happier to be around, and a lot of stuff in my life changed when I went back to college after COVID and stuff. My work ethic is much better because I'm maybe it's just kind of like the grind in the gym, but it's kind of set me up to something to where now I have goals ahead of me. And for a while, I was just like, I don't care about goals. I don't care about that stuff. I don't really care about my body. I don't care about schooling. I don't care about work. I don't need that stuff. And since I'm in much better spirits now and I've helped build something and I made myself better, I really like it. And I'm trying to build up a social following on my Instagram. And there's actually a few kids that are a few years younger than me. I worked out with them uh, yesterday, Gage. He came up to me or came with my little sister and was like, "Hey, your big brother Michael, he got me back into working out and stuff. I've seen his stuff on Instagram. He got me back into physical fitness, and it felt amazing." I was like, "Man, this is only one kid, but it felt amazing." And even if I only do one bodybuilding show, you know, I want to try and help a lot of other kids that were maybe like me. They were weak, they were weak or they were overweight, they were feeling rough. And I want to help to lift them up and just show them that, through hard work and stuff, you can find your place and you can feel much better. And having a healthy outlet, whether it be working out in the gym or doing football or jujitsu, as long as it's something active that's proactive and helps build up character, it can make a huge difference in your life. And as
Yes.
long as you put in the work, you can achieve it. And that's kind of how I got to where I am now. It's helped me in life a lot in school, at home, mentally, physically.
Yes. The way I see it, I can gather everything that you said under the umbrella of self confidence, because you almost feel like you have more respect to the person you are, and then you act accordingly, and everything in your life just follows. You attract everything, because as you said, you make better decisions, time management, being able to do better in school, at work, and then as a person, your self confidence goes up, and without faking it, you just become a better person without knowing it. And then
Mhm.
even people around you start noticing that.
And when I was younger, I'm sure you guys have probably felt like this at one time. You know, I would sit in my bed, kind of just depressed stuff, and I'd be like, you know, I knew that there was potential being wasted. I didn't know what type of potential. Obviously,
I know that feeling, Mike.
yeah,
It,
I was like,
I know
I
that.
could be doing so much more than what I'm doing right
Yeah,
now. And
the pain in the butt is figuring out what is it that you want to do.
yeah,
Because you all, at least me, I'm glad that you said it the way you said it. That you're depressed because you feel like you're lacking something. You have to do more. You know that you should do more, and then figuring out your way is the pain. But you know what? Once you start even a small step in any direction, if you really intend to get there, something is gonna direct you.
mhm.
And the first step for you is getting out of bed and going to the gym, and then
And
you find your way as you go. Sorry, I cut you off just because that really hit
no,
me hard because you said it perfectly.
yeah, you're fine. There's one thing I want to say that I kind of believe really personally to maybe some people that are watching and stuff, even if they're, especially if they're younger, you know, it anyone on these these TikTok or Instagram influencers and stuff and Facebook that are like, oh, it's easy, you just gotta do this, you gotta do this. They present it so easy. It's like no matter what you do, whether it's fitness, going to college, going in the workforce, anything worth achieving or worth making you feel fulfilled is going to come at a price. It's hard. They call it a grind for a reason. You got to sacrifice things. I know my family sometimes to go work out at the gym, or to get the right macros for the day, I had to skip family dinners, or I had to skip going out to a friend's party because I was like, listen, guys, I just got back from school. I can't party. I got to go to the gym. You're going to miss out on things, but if it's truly worth it to you, you're going to do it.
You almost have to lose your current self to become what you want to be, and it's a little hard sometimes, especially if you're used to a lot of things and you want to let go to kind of level up in any aspect of life, not only in dieting and bodybuilding. You're gonna
Mhm.
lose a lot of things in the process, as you said, and it comes with a price. That's that's some deep conversation you just said. Now looking back, if you would look back and talk to the mic, give some advice earlier in, let's say, 5 years ago, what would you change different? What you have done different?
First, I'd probably beat the crap out of him. But I don't know. I'd probably say, I guess reevaluate things. I definitely changed some things in terms of schooling and stuff I did in high school. But one of the biggest things I think is I tell the younger me to be careful who you hang around, because my father always told me, you know, you are who you hang out with. And one thing that helps you become successful and, have a strong will as a young person is who you hang out with. And when I was younger, I didn't hang around with the best crowd. I'll admit it. I didn't. I fit in with them. They thought I was kind of cool and funny, and I kind of liked them because I thought they were funny and cool, but they weren't the best thing for me.
The programming is wrong.
Yeah. And I definitely tell the younger me to reevaluate the programming and, just kind of do my own thing and do what's best for me, not what I think other people would like.
You know what's really refreshing and really cool to see? A lot of bodybuilding that go to bodybuilding shows, and they have this underlying view of what bodybuilding is. So a lot you see a lot of people that want to go there and just flex and show muscle and I'm the tough guy. But then you see these I want to say worlds of human being that they chose bodybuilding not only to show muscle but to change so many dimensions in their lives. And listening to the video that Eli did couple was it last week?
Yeah, I
Story,
watched that one.
and that was very touching because you know that he has a strong reason because he lived pretty miserable for a period of time and this hit him and now this gives him the reason, the purpose to keep going, and that's helping other people. It wakes him up, it gives him purpose in life. So it's not only about money, it's not only about doing a bodybuilding show, it's not about showing your abs, it's everything behind it. I love
Hmm.
seeing that. I love seeing that. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I really hope you a great experience, and I'll be watching you. I'll be training with you this weekend. But
Awesome.
to um to close it up, I will give the mic to Eli. Maybe a last word about the plan and what do we expect from Mike, the show coming up, the name of the show. Maybe we do another podcast as we get closer. Any video documentations you guys doing? Any plans for the show?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to closely document things a little bit more. It's been pretty loose the last few weeks just because school's ramped
Yeah.
up for you quite a bit.
Yeah, that's probably more my fault than Eli's.
It's nobody's fault. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's just life, and I think that we're far enough away from the show right now that it's okay. It's not a big deal. But I think there's going to be a time here really soon that it's you're putting your head down and you're just working and you're just going to be trucking through whether it's going to whether it's studying for final exams or going to the gym. You're going to have to be able to balance those things, and I want to basically help be your advocate in that situation because I know how hard that is to kind of wake up every day and just go and then sleep and just to wake up and do it again the next day.
Hmm.
It's a real grind, just like you said. But also, just like you said, anything worth it is going to be hard. So it's going to be fun to really dig deep these next couple weeks and get you a solid plan, a really you know week by week by week, and then eventually day by day what we'll be doing to handle this. So yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. Where is the show gonna be? Is it in Michigan?
Uh, Chicago.
Yeah, yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
It's INBA.
Traveling. I'm traveling with you guys.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. I we were gonna do one in Grand Rapids, but then we found out that that one, because I'm just doing natural. We found out that one was kind of mixed. And
It was like an NPC natural show, so
Mhm.
I'd rather do INBA.
So you're doing men's physique or classic or both or bodybuilding or three of them,
I'm
bikini.
thinking both. I'm not sure what category I do better in at the moment. I'm probably too far out to really tell. Um, but I'm planning on doing both.
I see you doing a lot of classic poses. I feel like you're gonna do great in classic.
Uh, I guess we'll see, man.
You got the legs for it. We just got to build your chest up, I think. And
Yeah.
the posing, though, I mean, that's where his passion is. I mean, you watch Pumping Iron. It's all about
Yeah.
those classic poses
I've
for you.
I've been trying. I've been working on one Arnold pose that I love so much, and it's his like iconic one with his hand on his chest, and he's got the one thing, and he's got his body turned, and I love that pose so much, and I would love to incorporate it if I can in some way.
Yeah, you gotta get the bicep peak of Arnold.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, I wish you luck, Mike, in your show, and thank you for joining us today. Great conversation, very refreshing. I like your mindset, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna do really great with Eli. Any last word, people? Where do people find you on social media to kind of follow your journey?
Uh, Pretty simple, just Michael Paswick. Uh,
You'll want to spell that out because
yeah, yeah. Most people know how to spell Michael, but last name is Pasiwk. It's a bit weird of a spelling, but I just like to say thanks.
Description below the video.
Okay. Um, Thanks for having me on the podcast. You guys both have helped me out so much. When I've worked out with Yusuf a few times, and he's helped me out with just some different bicep workouts that we've done together, and so some of the other guys in the team. And I've learned so much, and I hope to keep learning. You guys have helped me out a lot.
We all do learn from each other. It's not teaching. It's like knowledge exchange everywhere.
Mhm.
All right, thank you guys for your time. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.